Welcome to the CompTIA Project Plus prepcast by baremetalcyber.com. The planning phase is where the groundwork for execution is laid, and two of the most important aspects of this stage are resource pool planning and early procurement actions. Resource planning is all about determining exactly what personnel, equipment, and tools the project will need and ensuring that they will be available when required. Procurement planning, on the other hand, focuses on securing goods and services from outside the project team. Both areas must align with the project scope and timeline, and both require careful coordination with other planning activities. Getting these decisions right early means the schedule, budget, and vendor relationships will be set up for success before execution begins. A resource pool is the total set of available personnel, equipment, or tools that a project can access. It is not limited to the dedicated project team but can include internal staff from other departments, shared corporate assets such as specialized machinery, and even external contractors who bring specialized skills. The resource pool is typically managed by functional managers or dedicated resource coordinators who oversee assignments across multiple projects. Securing the right resources from this pool at the right time is one of the most important factors in ensuring execution success. Identifying resource requirements begins with reviewing the Work Breakdown Structure, or WBS, and determining which tasks require specific labor or equipment. Each role should be matched to the necessary skills, certifications, or levels of experience to ensure quality work. Physical resource needs could include hardware, software licenses, or access to specialized facilities. Estimates for these requirements must consider the availability of each resource, the lead time needed to acquire them, and the duration for which they will be in use. Assessing resource availability requires checking individual and departmental calendars, reviewing approved time-off requests, and understanding other project assignments that might compete for the same people or assets. It is common for conflicts to occur when resources are shared across multiple initiatives. Visualization tools like resource histograms or shared calendars make it easier to see when conflicts might arise. The project manager must then negotiate allocation adjustments and confirm commitments to ensure that each required resource will be available when needed. Functional managers play a critical role in this process, especially in matrixed organizations where they control the assignment of staff. The project manager submits resource requests to these managers and works to negotiate for availability and priority. This coordination helps prevent overallocation or underutilization of resources. Maintaining strong relationships with functional leads makes the process smoother and increases the likelihood of getting the necessary resources when they are needed most. Early procurement is equally important during the planning phase because some resources must be ordered or contracted well before the execution stage. Lead time can be a factor for a variety of items, including software licenses that require administrative setup, hardware deliveries that can take weeks or months, or consultants whose schedules need to be reserved in advance. Procurement planning must align vendor timelines with project milestones so that materials and services arrive exactly when they are needed. If procurement is delayed, it can create risks that impact the critical path and cause significant schedule slippage. Creating a procurement management plan is a foundational step in ensuring that goods and services are acquired in a controlled and efficient manner. This plan defines how procurement will be handled, including the specific processes for acquiring each item or service and identifying from whom they will be acquired. It outlines the criteria that will be used to select vendors so that the selection process is objective and transparent. It also defines the contract types that will be used and sets realistic timelines for procurement activities to align with the rest of the project schedule. The procurement management plan clearly assigns roles, such as procurement officers who handle purchasing, approvers who authorize spending, and technical evaluators who review product or service suitability. This plan must be developed in compliance with the organization's procurement policies and must adhere to budget controls to avoid cost overruns. Defining preliminary procurement needs begins with a high-level review of the work breakdown structure and the initial task planning. At this stage, early estimates are created for what will be needed, drawing on stakeholder input and lessons learned from past projects. These needs often include software purchases, third-party services, consultant engagements, or materials for construction and manufacturing. Early engagement with the organization's procurement team is critical to ensure that there is sufficient lead time to complete procurement activities before the resources are required. Items that cannot be fully scoped at this point should be flagged for additional investigation and clarification, and vendor input may be sought to refine these requirements before moving into formal procurement. Developing a procurement timeline ensures that all procurement activities are properly sequenced and integrated with the overall project schedule. This timeline plots out key procurement milestones alongside internal tasks so that dependencies between purchased items and project deliverables are visible. Important procurement milestones might include the release of a request for proposal or RFP, the selection of vendors, the signing of contracts, and the delivery of goods or services. Buffer time should be added to account for potential delays during negotiation, legal review, or vendor scheduling conflicts. Having clear timing for procurement helps integrate purchased resources smoothly into the project workflow and reduces the risk of interruptions during execution. Selecting preliminary contract types is another critical planning activity because it determines how risks and responsibilities are shared between the buyer and the vendor. Common contract types include fixed-price contracts, which work best when deliverables are well-defined and stable. Time and materials contracts, which are useful when the scope is less defined and flexibility is required. And cost-plus contracts, which reimburse the vendor for costs plus an agreed profit margin, often used for highly complex or uncertain work. The contract type chosen should reflect the project's risk tolerance, budget flexibility, and the level of clarity around deliverables. Project managers must work closely with legal and procurement experts to select the best contract structure, as these decisions have long-term implications for scope control, vendor accountability, and payment terms. Identifying potential vendors or partners early in planning gives the project team a head start on the selection process. This step may involve reviewing pre-qualified vendor lists, conducting market research, or leveraging industry contacts to identify candidates with the right capabilities. Technical criteria such as compatibility with existing systems and financial criteria such as budget constraints will help narrow the list of suitable vendors. Some organizations use requests for information or RFPs to gather early insights from the market before moving into formal proposal requests. Relationships with vendors must be managed professionally and impartially to ensure that the selection process remains fair and in compliance with procurement regulations. Creating request for proposal documents is a major activity in early procurement planning. An RFP clearly defines the scope of work, the deliverables expected, the evaluation criteria that will be applied, and the deadlines vendors must meet to submit proposals. A well-written RFP helps attract qualified vendors who understand exactly what is required and can provide accurate bids. The quality of these documents directly affects the quality of vendor responses. Poorly written RFPs often lead to scope gaps, budget overruns, or disputes later in the project. Developing these documents early allows the project team to refine them before issuing them to potential suppliers. Estimating procurement costs at this stage helps create a more accurate project budget. Cost estimates can be informed by vendor quotes, historical data from similar projects, or parametric models that use statistical relationships to project costs. These estimates are recorded in the project's cost baseline or procurement budget for tracking throughout the project. Some costs may be fixed, such as the purchase of equipment, while others may vary depending on usage or changes in scope. Having early visibility into procurement costs improves budget accuracy and builds sponsor trust by reducing the risk of financial surprises later. Managing procurement risks is essential because issues with vendors or purchased goods can have a direct and severe impact on the project schedule and quality. Risks can include late deliveries, contract disputes, poor quality goods or services, or vendor underperformance. These risks should be entered into the project's risk register during the planning phase, so that mitigation strategies can be prepared. Contracts may include protective clauses such as penalties for missed deadlines, service-level agreements, or exit terms in case of persistent underperformance. By planning for these risks early, the project team is better equipped to respond quickly if problems arise. Aligning procurement with scope and schedule ensures that all purchased items and services directly support the work breakdown structure and milestone targets. If items arrive too early, they may incur storage costs or risk becoming obsolete before use. If they arrive too late, they can cause schedule delays and disrupt workflows. The project manager must coordinate task sequencing and delivery dates carefully, making procurement activities visible in the master project schedule. This visibility allows for proactive adjustments if vendor timelines shift or if internal work is completed faster or slower than planned. In summary, resource and procurement planning in the early stages of the planning phase is critical to laying the foundation for a smooth execution. Identifying exactly what is needed, securing commitments for when it will be provided, and ensuring that procurement aligns with both scope and schedule can significantly reduce the likelihood of delays. Strong collaboration with functional managers and procurement teams at this stage improves cost control, keeps the schedule realistic, and boosts stakeholder confidence that the project is set up for success. Thank you for listening. Please follow baremetalcyber.com on social media and check out our books at cyberauthor.me.